Episode 182 of the Radio Control Show, sponsored by AMianHobbies.com, your one-stop RC hobby store. Military drones and UAVs are a driving force in the aerospace industry today, and companies are working to develop the next big breakthrough. Lockheed Martin is taking an early lead in expanding flight duration with a number of UAV power system options. Would you believe the new Stalker XE can stay airborne for more than 48 hours with a propane fuel cell? Or how about indefinite flight times with beam to laser power technology? Thanks to Lockheed Martin Videos for this footage.
We have a filtering system, so you can buy propane off of the market and it will filter the sulfur out of it. So you can purchase propane anywhere around the world and have a vehicle like the Stalker up in the air for over 8 hours. We were looking for a way of taking the Stalker and having it fly for many days, if possible, to take it to a new level of ISR capability in a small UAS. So we developed, in conjunction with a company named Laser Motive that won the NASA X Prize with Beam to Energy, we developed a version of the Stalker that we flight tested that is able to fly for several days. It has flown successfully for over 48 hours in a wind tunnel environment, and just recently the Stalker has been able to fly in day, night, and very rough weather conditions, also proving our first phase of flight tests.
This week's tech tip comes from RC Car Action's Stephen Best. In this tip, he explains how and why to vent off-road tires.
So this week's tech tip is about venting your off-road tires. And I say venting the tires and not venting the wheels for a reason. This is one of the most hotly contested and debated topics online. If you look online, all of the internet experts, half of them will tell you to vent the wheels, the other half will tell you to vent the tires, and they'll give you all these reasons why venting the tires does not work. I'll tell you from decades of experience and learning from people who know a lot more about tires than I do, venting the tire is the preferred method, and at least that's what I do, and that's what almost all of the pros here in Southern California that are experts and world champions do. The reason that you do that is that when you vent the tire itself, yes, some dirt might be able to get in and moisture might get in, but as the tire rotates incredibly quickly, all of that stuff gets slung out. When you vent the wheel, moisture and dirt and sediment can enter from the inside of the wheel. We all know that dirt collects around the inside of the wheel. It has no way to get out, so all it does is sit in there and chew up your foam insert. So to vent a tire, all I do is I use a set of hole punches like this. It's an adjustable hole punch. I use like the medium hole setting, and I will punch a hole at the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock position of the tire. Pretty simple. Right there and right there. Pull a little piece of rubber out and you've got two nice uniform holes in the tire. Put your foam insert in, mount it to the wheel just like you normally would, and run them until the tire's dead. And then, if you want proof that there's nothing left inside there, cut the tire off and you'll notice that there's virtually nothing left inside. When you vent the wheel, you're going to get a nice collection of sediment and moisture. So for this week's tech tip, always vent the tire. Use a cheap hole punch you can buy at a dollar store or a hardware store. And do that with every set of tires you have. You're going to find that your inserts last a little bit longer and your tires won't get as unbalanced as quickly. So good luck, everybody.
The Tucson Aerobatic Shootout brings together some of the best pilots in the world for a 5-day competition to determine who is the best aerobatic pilot. Model Airplane News editor John Reed was on hand to capture all the action at this world-class event.
name's Jason Benson with Model Airplane News, here talking with Matt Stringer at the Tucson Aerobatic Shootout 2012. So you came out here, you had to borrow a plane from Kurt Campbell. What plane did you borrow, and how did it work out for you? How many flights did you have before you got here?
Oh, well, it was last week, actually, last Sunday. Kurt saw that I still didn't have an airplane to fly, and he was like, here, just fly the Card. So I had already test flown it earlier in the year, but I'm flying a Cardin Pro 124-inch, and it has a DA200 with canisters on it. Very, very awesome airplane, and I just have to give Kurt all the world for letting me have the opportunity to fly it for this contest, because I don't know what I would have done without it.
So I think, even though we haven't done the awards, we can probably say you won unlimited?
I'd say so, yeah. I don't like to, say it, because I come here to fly all the rounds. I don't like to say, oh yeah, I've, finished all the rounds, I don't have to fly anymore. But no, everybody was telling me, oh dude, you already won and everything. I'm like, no, I still have 2 more rounds to fly. Anything can happen.
Good job, man. This is your freestyle plane here, the Hangar 9 Extra 300. I know you flew also an AJ Slick with electric power, but I saw you were running out of juice about halfway through. So
yeah, this plane was the one that I had here last year, and it was the one that touched the wingtip, but I got new wings for it, so it's all good.
Yeah, and you were also a good sport and also lent the plane to Aaron Garl from Australia to fly for the freestyle as well.
Oh yeah, my brother from down under.
All right, well, goodwill all the way around here in the IMAC family at the Tucson Aerobatic Shootout 2012. Matt, it was great talking to you. Good flying. Look forward to seeing you in the future.
Thanks, JB.
Novac's 1S LiPo booster module is awesome for one-cell on-road and oval cars. The booster increases the voltage from your single-cell LiPo from 3.7 volts up to the 6 volts that your radio gear requires. Just plug it into the battery slot on your receiver and you never have to run a receiver pack again. It comes with the booster, an on and off switch, all the wiring to complete the install, and mounting tape. Check out the 1S LiPo booster module at teamnovac.com.
Tad from Minnesota asked us, what is the best way to break in an engine during the winter months? We still race indoors or whenever the weather allows, but I don't want to ruin my engine breaking it in during cold weather. How do I do this? Let's go to Stephen Best for the answer.
Hey Todd, so you want to know about breaking in a nitro engine in cold weather? That's a great question, because if it's done improperly, you can actually wear an engine out before you've even started running it. The number one thing you've got to think of with nitro engine break-in in cold weather is heat retention. You want the engine to retain as much of the heat that it generates as possible, and in cold weather that heat's just going to dissipate right away unless you have a way to keep it inside the engine and in the cooling head. What I like to use, using my OS Speed engine here as an example, my favorite thing to use is a piece of foam PVC pipe insulator. You can buy this at Home Depot or Lowe's, any kind of hardware store. Buy a foot of it and cut it to lengths like this. This is about a 2.5-inch width piece. And before I start breaking on my engine, if it's cold outside, I just simply slip the insulator right over the cooling head. It looks just like that. What this will do is it won't allow any of the heat to dissipate off of those cooling fins. And even if the engine's idling, or if you're running at very slow speeds like in figure 8s to do some heat cycling, it will keep all the heat that's generated, or at least most of it, inside this cooling head and keep the block nice and warm. The objective here is to get the internals of the engine up to running temperature so that they expand. Metals will expand when they heat and they contract when they cool. You don't want this engine breaking in with all of the metals contracted. So this is my favorite way to break in an engine in cold weather. If for some reason you don't have access to a foam insulator like this, or you can't find any, you can also just take a piece of a shop rag. I cut this off of a microfiber towel. I mean, obviously this is a used piece, but what I do is I just take the piece like this and I'll wrap it around the cooling head. And then I use just a standard rubber band to secure it. So it's wrapped up like that. Take a rubber band, and bingo, you've got an insulator for the cooling head. Again, preferred method number 1 because it's just so easy and clean. Preferred method number 2 because chances are everybody has shop rag they wouldn't mind sacrificing for an engine cooling heat wrap. And then just break in your engine the way that you normally would. There's not much mystery to it. If you got any more questions, make sure and email us or check in our Facebook page. Like us on Facebook, and we look forward to hearing from you. And good luck out there in the cold Minnesota weather. Can't say that I envy you, but I remember what it's like, and you've got to run nitro even during the winter. You got to have that exhaust smell, so good luck.
The RC Car Action Buyer's Guide is 200 pages and features all the hottest new products, gear, and vehicles the RC hobby has to offer, as well as some of our most killer content yet. Check out Losey's Desert Racing 5T as it conquers the dunes of the California desert. The RC Car Action's Buyer's Guide also takes a look inside some of Kevin Jowett's killer scale builds and much, much more. It hits newsstands on October 29th and will be available for immediate download at AirageStore.com, iTunes, and Barnes & Noble.
Our latest book, RC Electric Power, is now available on AirageStore.com. Compiled from the best articles on electric-powered flight in model airplane news and electric flight, this book offers the latest e-flight info, the best how-to articles, and tips and techniques from the pros. You'll learn how to choose the right power system, make perfect soldering joints, program your speed control, and much, much more. You'll find it for $27.95 only at AirageStore.com.
Head to your local hobby shop or newsstand for the December issues of Radio Control Car Action and Model Airplane News, or get it now on AirageStore.com, iTunes, or BarnesandNoble.com. Thanks again for joining us on the Radio Control Show, and we'll see you next time.